All right, hello everybody. I am Alan of Armchair Updates. I am the guy that runs the pod for the ABL and now the new ABL4. If you joined through the Roto World forums or maybe wherever else Duke has mentioned this league, you might have seen that we are going to have our own podcast. It's not exactly high production value stuff, but we like it for our little network here, and I thought it would be, I enjoy doing it enough for the ABL that I wanted to also do it for the other 30-man league that Duke was going to start up, which is ABL4. We really need a snappier name. I don't like saying ABL4, so I don't know what to call it, but maybe come up with something snazzier, snappier, quicker. But that's what this is, and for the initial episode, I wanted to just kind of do a quick try to put the owners' names to marry them to the team for everybody. If you're in a lot of leagues, I don't even think you have to be in a lot of leagues, but it's a brand new 30-teamer. It's not easy to remember 29 other guys and what team they're associated with, especially if some of us are on the Discord a lot and others aren't, especially in the ABL. I kind of expect that to be about the same for ABL4. Not all of the 30 guys are going to be able to be on Discord all the time, like some of us are. Some guys don't want to be on Discord all the time. That's fine. But for the guys that are, for the guys that aren't, for everybody, this is just a quick rundown of putting a guy's face, or at least his Discord face, to his ABL4 team. And I figure, this is the first time I've tried to do this Google Slides thing. I haven't made a PowerPoint since I was in about the 7th grade. I don't know if this is considered a PowerPoint, but it's more visuals than I typically have with these things. So we're gonna try this and see if I can't keep from screwing it up too much. Let's share this. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is the NL East of the ABL4. We're of course in the middle of the auction right now, but I got the baseball bug. I'm not doing a draft today, so I kind of thought I would try to throw this together. This is your NL East. I start with the NL East because it's just easier to get me out of the way first. So I am Alan. I am 37. I live in Western Colorado. I started the YouTube channel. I had never done a YouTube channel. I had never done a podcast. I'm not a content creator. I started this channel because I thought it would be fun for the ABL. I was excited to be in a 30-team dynasty. It was my first one. And I don't know. I just thought it would be a fun little aspect for the league if, when I did it, if it didn't go over well or the guys didn't like it or whatever, I wasn't going to keep doing it if people weren't enjoying it or whatever. But it's been a little over a year now, and it seems to be going well in the ABL. So yeah, I'm the owner CEO of Armchair Updates Limited. I think that's what that means. So I am in the ABL as well. I'm in Flug. I am in DZFC. I am in the AFL, which is the Armchair Football League. I'm in pretty much everything. I was in most of the best balls that we did in the off season. Not all of them, but you'll find me pretty much everywhere when it comes to the AFN, the Armchair Fantasy Network, this great community and network that Duke has created pretty much from the ground up. I have no official power in any capacity, but I am the guy that runs the podcast. So that's kind of the thing I do, I guess. I also run the ABL Rockies, and I of course run the ABL4 Mets. I am not a Mets fan. I really don't like the Mets, but I love the Mets uniforms. I like the colors. I like the story and the history behind the uniforms. I'm a Cardinal fan in real life from Illinois, and the Cardinals were taken in ABL, and I don't know. I'm not somebody that likes to be my favorite team in stuff. You know, when I play the show or whatever, I'm not usually the Cardinals. Right? I don't know why, but that's who I am. Now, a lot of you guys probably today, earlier today, if you're watching this on Friday, a lot of you got like a bulk message from me this morning on the Discord about like, hey, I'm doing this. If you want to give me a little bit of information, feel free. If you don't, that's fine. The guys that didn't, nobody said, hey, I don't want to tell you, where I live, or had nobody said that. But some guys, I just assume, like I said, they don't check Discord all the time. A few guys haven't got back to me yet, and I just kind of wanted to rip this out tonight. So for the guys, I don't really have anything. I'm sorry. I'm sure the idea is to get everybody individually on here at one time or another. I've wanted to do that for ABL. I haven't got all 29 other owners on yet, mostly due to my own constraints and laziness and such. But that would be the idea. So, just because we don't know stuff about these guys today doesn't necessarily mean that we're, never going to know stuff about these guys. This league just started and we really jumped straight into the auction. So, this is just my quick way of doing this. So yeah, Alan, the Mets. Running the Phillies is Matt. Matt is 26 and he actually lives in Philly. So I guess you could put two and two together and assume that he is a real life Phillies fan, and of course is going to try to take the ABL4 Phillies to great heights. The Nats are ran by Adam. Adam runs the Phillies in the ABL. He's a New Jersey, New York guy. He and I share a love of the band Ween, but Adam does hate freedom. If you it's hard to say. It's hard to say that with a straight face. Adam does not hate freedom. He and I just bump heads sometimes in the politics forum. Just a goof on Adam, which I know he's going to watch this, so I thought that would be funny to put that. But Adam is, of course, also in the ABL. He is in Flug. He and I are both new owners in Flug. That is the Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen, and he's also in DZFC, which is the Don Zimmer Fight Club. I guess I could have explained those early, so I'm not just throwing out acronyms or whatever those are. But that's Adam. Adam runs the Nats. So yeah, this of course is getting to know your NL East. Running the Braves is Vince. I don't know a ton about Vince. I put that he's from everywhere because I'm pretty sure Vince is an over-the-road trucker. So he is kind of everywhere all the time. He is also in the Armchair Football League. So Vince may be one of those guys that's not on the Discord a ton, but he is a fantasy guy. He checks his teams. He certainly responds to trade offers and such in the football league. So there's no reason to think that he wouldn't in ABL4. And that's Vince, the Braves. And the Marlins are ran by Mike. Mike is 42 years old from Iowa. And putting two and two together again, like Matt with Phil, you have to assume Mike does something with corn, being an Iowan. Probably will eventually get along pretty well with Tony, who is, of course, another Iowan, now lives in North Dakota. But as we get through this, we're going to see a trend. A lot of good Midwest boys. Like I said, I'm from Illinois. Spent most of my life there before moving out to Colorado. A lot of good strapping Midwest boys in these leagues. For whatever reason, not a lot of us on the West Coast. We got East Coast guys. We got a lot of Midwest guys. We have very few West Coast guys. I think maybe a couple in ABL4, maybe a couple in ABL. But by and large, me, Western Colorado, Frank of the ABL Cubs is in Utah. Jake of the ABL Braves is in the San Diego area. So I think that's pretty much it. I feel like I want to say Seth is in Seattle, but I think he just runs Seattle. Anyway, so what I didn't want to do is accidentally keep talking about the damn ABL. I think maybe I just click. Okay, all right. So NL Central, as I just mentioned, we've got Tony running the Cubs. He is a real-life Cubs fan. He lives in North Dakota and currently in a bottomless pit of despair because of Iowa's tournament loss. And as I said, he is an Iowa guy. I believe he proposed to his wife at an Iowa Cubs game during the seventh inning stretch, which is on YouTube somewhere. So Tony is a Cub fan and a Midwest guy through and through. He is the Marlins in the ABL. He is also in DZFC, and he's also in the Armchair Football League, which is a dynasty football league. It's only a 12-teamer. With the new influx of guys into the AFN, if we get more football guys, I would love to maybe do some other football leagues, maybe some redraft or something. We're probably not going to rework the dynasty, but I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to other football leagues within the Armchair Network. The Cardinals are ran by Dodger Joe. Dodger Joe runs the ABL Dodgers. He is from the like Kentucky, Cincinnati area. I think he lives in Kentucky. Dodger Joe has had his own ABL, and so is Tony. Actually, have had their own ABL Getting to Know You podcasts. So, if you want to, check out Joe. Joe's a smart guy. Joe is a stats professor. I hope I didn't get that wrong, but he's a professor of yeah, I think statistics. So like math. Joe's a smart guy. Joe had a very good first year with the Dodgers, and he's a bridge player. So I don't know if many people know much about bridge, but bridge is typically played by smart people throughout history, generals and stuff. Presidents and generals. Eisenhower was a bridge player, et cetera, et cetera. And that's Dodger Joe. Joe is a real life Cardinal fan and took the ABL4 Cardinals before anybody else was able to get to him. The Reds are ran by Lenny. Lenny is actually ageless. He's from North Carolina, and he was also, I think, the model for a lot of these statues that you saw in ancient Greece. He also works at parties as the Vitruvian Man. True story, not speculation. All of that is true. Lenny is also the Reds in the ABL. He is also in Flug. He is also in DZFC. So another Swiss Army knife in the network here. Lenny, it seems like any kind of weird, obscure thing that you might ask about, like out loud in the Discord, Lenny somehow has some expertise in it. You ask about anything from flying a plane to scuba diving and anything in between. Lenny will know something about it, and yeah, I don't want to fawn over these guys too much. But Lenny also has his Getting to Know You. If you want to get to know the owner of the ABL4 Reds before I'm able to get him on here again, he's done some good prospect stuff. He is like most of us, we're all in these leagues. We're fantasy baseball nerds. Some of these guys take their nerddom a little further than the rest of us. Lenny might be one of those guys, especially when it comes to prospects and things like that. So yeah, check out. I had one with him and Duke where we broke down some prospect rankings for the ABL, but a lot of good information in there just generally if you're a prospects guy. Brewers Dan was a guy that was not able to get back to me before I was able to do this. But his name is Dan, and he does run the ABL4 Brewers. The Pirates are ran by Jordan. Jordan is also in the ABL. He split runs the Nationals in the ABL. I believe he's from and I could be wrong. Jordan, sorry if I am. I think he's also from the Pittsburgh area. And he's pretty good at NHL 22. I've played a little bit of video hockey with him on the PlayStation 4. Pretty good NHL player. And again, these guys, if I don't have much for them, I just couldn't think of much. I'm not the wittiest guy. I try sometimes, but it doesn't usually pay off. Rockies Jared, a guy as we move to the NL West, another guy wasn't able to get back to me. I assume that he's the same Jared that is the diamond retailer that you see on TV. Ooh, he must have went to Jared. He owns the ABL4 Rockies, so he's probably coming from some money. I'm just guessing with a name like that he is the diamond guy. The D-backs are ran by real life St. Louisian, at least for the next little bit. Jeff, I think Jeff is around 40 years old. Runs the ABL Cardinals. He's also in Flug. He's also in DZFC. He is also in the AFL. He's everywhere. Soon to be moving to Florida, as long as everything goes well. and possibly a future NFBC champion. He and Duke are running a satellite team together, and it's hard to envision the two of those guys putting their brains together and not performing well. So maybe I could take the question mark away and just put future NFBC champion, but I don't want to get too hasty. The Giants are ran by Shea. He is 32, and he's an Oklahoman. Our first Oklahoman in the Armchair Network, and maybe I think one of the younger guys really in ABL4 at 32. We've got some guys in their 20s in the ABL, but I think 32 is on the young end for ABL4 here. Dodgers are ran by Chris. He is 40 years old. He is in the LA area, and if I recall, I think, yeah, he's a high school teacher. Also, not the first one of those we have in the Armchair Network. Something about teachers, professors seem to be attracted to fantasy baseball because we've got a decent handful of them within the network here, and that is Chris, who runs the Dodgers. The Padres are in by Mike. Mike was not able to get back to me before I did this, so I'm just going to assume that Mike in his real life is a Friar. He runs the ABL4 Padres, and I'm going to take that to mean that he is also a practicing Friar. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's all I had. Let's go to the AL East now. Let's go to the AL and burn through this here. The Yankees are ran by Brendan. Brendan is 36. He is a relatively new owner in the ABL. He took over a dead team. He took over the ABL Royals, and the team needs some work, but he came in and has done some work to it. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in year 2 of the ABL, taking over somebody's dead team and then drafting a team from scratch for himself. He is also in North Carolina, our second North Carolina resider, along with Mr. Linney. The Blue Jays are ran by Brian. Brian did not get at me, but I am, again, assuming that Brian loves alliteration because his name is Brian and he runs the Blue Jays. That's all I got for him. I honestly, I had to look at some of these guys because I've been doing a lot of redraft and shit this week, and ABL4 just kind of, I don't know, I feel like it just kind of started. Like once we got full, man, we really started. And I didn't get a chance to really look. I had to check and see who the hell was running the Blue Jays. I had no idea it was a guy named Brian. I probably even said, "Welcome, Brian," on the Discord, but I did not remember. So I apologize to Brian. If you don't love alliteration, I'll get rid of this. And I probably won't pull the episode. There's been a Blue Jay owner in the past in the ABL that requested I pull episodes of this pod because he's an asshole. But I probably won't do it for this one, Brian. So hopefully you do love alliteration. The Rays are ran by Phil. He is a Chicago guy, and that won't be the first time you hear that. Phil is 34 years old. He is also, I think Phil is in some of the best balls that we've ran. He might be in the breaking bats best ball. That's one of the ones I'm not in, but I'm pretty sure Jordan of the Pirates is the one that ran the breaking bats best ball, which a lot of guys are in, but I did not make. The O's are ran by Scott, and this is a true fact. He is the only guy named Scott in the Armchair Network, so he's got that going for him, which I think is solid. I'm the only guy named Alan, but I didn't love my name growing up. People always spelled it wrong, and so they always gave it the ALAN. Scott, pretty easy to spell. Maybe people give you the 1 T or whatever, but only guy named Scott running the Orioles. That's what we got. The Red Sox are ran by Gary. Gary was actually born in the Mesozoic era, which is I don't remember how many millions of years ago, but Gary might be pushing it as oldest guy in ABL4, and I think I'm sure he knows I'm just poking fun at him. You can see a pod with Gary on it. I had Gary. He runs the Blue Jays in the ABL. I actually forgot to mention that on here, but Gary does. He took over the Blue Jays for the aforementioned jerky owner who ran the ABL Blue Jays. The in year one, and Gary came in, took him over, and much like Brendan with the ABL Royals, had a lot of work to do, and is busy trying to form the team into his own in a way that's difficult in a league with contracts and everything. So it's nice to see Gary be able to draft not a regular dynasty team, but you know what I mean. You guys know what this league is, but it's I'm glad to be able to see Gary build a team from the bottom up and see what he's able to do with it. Gary does live in New England. He's in Massachusetts. He's also left-handed, as we learned on the Discord today. Had the issues smudging his handwriting, much like I did growing up. Chalkboards were a nightmare in school. Even when it went to dry erase, it still sucked. You know, you're still smudging as you go. It just sucked. Let's move to the AL Central. And we've got the White Sox are ran by another guy named Mike. Mike is another Chicago area dweller. He has 3 kids. He's in a few leagues. He has no spare time. But when he does, he is, I believe he said, an Xbox player. I am a PlayStation and PC player, so we probably won't run into each other much. Mike is also in Flug. He is one of the expansion owners, along with myself and Adam and Cripes. Who else? Sorry, there's a fourth. I can't remember. But we all came in. Brendan, I think, to be expansion owners in Flug this year. The Cleveland Guardians, I call them the Clevelands. I don't like the name Guardians. They are ran by John. John is 50 years old, lives in the Tampa area, and he is an architect. I didn't bug him for too many details about that because we could probably just do an entire pod of just him talking about his job, honestly. But this guy is a legit architect. So how cool is that? I mean, this is no George Costanza pretending to be an architect. This guy's an architect. We got some, aside from, a lot of these guys in ABL4, we don't know how, smart or sharp they are when it comes to fantasy, but just what some of these guys do. We have professors and teachers and architects, in these leagues. Pretty cool. The Royals are ran by Frank. Frank is 33. He is in the Cleveland area, and he is a dynasty veteran. He's been playing dynasty leagues, I think he said, for 6 to 7 years now. So, when it comes to me and a lot of the other guys in the original ABL, it was our first dynasty. It was our first 30-teamer. I did not ask Frank if he's done any 30-team dynasty, but he is a dynasty veteran. The Tigers are ran by Tiger John. John runs the Tigers in the ABL, and he ran them very, very well. The Tigers were a well-oiled machine in ABL. I have not gotten John on yet for a getting to know you for the ABL or anything. So, the first time he's able to come on here will be the first time that I've really got to pick his brain about how he builds his teams. He's taken part in a lot of the best balls that we did in the off season, and I believe John was the one responsible for bringing Haley, who also participated in several of the best balls, and may yet be interested in more in the future. So John's been a great part of the network, a good owner, and has brought in others. John is a sharp guy. You guys won't be able to. So ABL owners know how sharp John is. They know how good the Tigers are. I guess if you really wanted to, you could go back and watch some of the ABL pods and see the Tigers at the top of a lot of lists every week. But you don't have to. Just take my word for it. The Tigers are probably going to be good. Guys in the Central, they're going to be dealing with John. He's a sharp owner. And so is this next guy. The Twins are ran by Tyler. Tyler's 33. He lives in Minnesota and spends a lot of time in a Rocket League car. I think he coaches like Rocket League, not like as a job, but he has a side thing going or something where he actually coaches like esports, like Rocket League players. If you're familiar with Rocket League, kind of neat. I believe he's also a teacher, another teacher. We have several in this league. Tyler runs the ABL Twins as well. And much like John, the ABL Twins are very good. This guy is a sharp owner. he's been sniped many times in this initial ABL4 auction. And another guy I haven't been able to get on his own individual pod yet, but somebody that I'm hoping to very soon because this guy's a sharp fantasy baseball player, and I would love to pick his brain a little bit. The Central might be tough, man. I haven't really sat down and looked just yet at how the players and the auction is shaking down. Probably we'll do another one of these when the rosters are a little more set and get some ideas on who the tough divisions are going to be, et cetera, et cetera. But at least in this one, I know two of these guys at the very least. That's not to shit on anybody else, but two of these guys I know are very solid fantasy baseball players. Let's move on to the AL West. And the AL West, a couple of these guys weren't able to get to me, again, before I was able to do this. The Angels are ran by Matt, which now I had to look at this for quite a while to figure this out, but Matt is almost like the name Scott. And I actually I said if you replace the S and the L, but there's a C in there too. These guys both have names that end with two T's, and that's kind of interesting. But that's all I could think of for Matt because he didn't get back to me. So Matt, we'll get you next time. The A's are ran by Duke. Duke is pretty much immortal. This community that he has put together is, it's only been a year and a half or whatever, but I feel like this thing is just going to keep, even if it doesn't keep growing, like this thing is going to be around for a while. Duke has really put together a great thing here. Most of us can't thank him enough. He does a lot of work when it comes to setting these leagues up, and if you've ever been commissioner of leagues before, a lot of us probably have. It's a pretty thankless job most of the time. Most of the time, you're just hearing from guys when they want to bitch about something. I try to, at the end of a lot of the pods, I try to let Duke know how appreciated he is and how much I and usually whoever I'm talking to enjoys this community. And that's me assuming that Duke watches every single one of these all the way to the very end, because how could he not, right? Duke he has an interesting career. He was like a Coast Guard, he's a helicopter pilot, or maybe he's like just an instructor now, but he's a pilot. Like the guy's he's a pilot. He's a Coast Guard pilot. He lives in New England, I believe Connecticut these days. I could be wrong about all this. I hope not. He was the ABL1 year one champion. No malfeasance. The guy that made the league ended up crushing the league, and I don't think it was accident, because he's kicked our asses in the other leagues that he's in too. Of course, he's in all of the other leagues. I didn't bother putting him because he's not in the AFL. Duke's not a football guy, but all the other baseball leagues he of course is in. And he was very, very good. And I'm pretty sure he said this last year was like the best fantasy year he's ever had. He really performed admirably. So that's why I say I put, a future NFBC champion with Jeff. Jeff is very bright when it comes to fantasy. He led the Cardinals in the ABL to a great record in the playoffs, etc. These two guys together, it's hard to imagine them not, taking down whatever it is they're trying to do, an NFBC satellite. Can't say enough good things about him. I'm going to get him on here to maybe break down the league. Maybe some constitutional breakdown. I don't know if we're going to get into that too much, but you can expect to see him and hear from him. He's been on ABL podcast several times, but he's the man with the plan. He's the guy both in front of and behind the curtain. And man, I've played in hundreds of fantasy baseball leagues since I was about 12 years old. I'm 37 now. This is the league. These are the leagues, and I wouldn't be doing ABL4 if I didn't, believe it. These are the leagues that I've been looking for my entire life. Like this community, these guys ran by these people. I just, I don't want to fawn over these guys too much again, but Duke he's a great commissioner. He's a great owner. He's a great fantasy player. And for all intents and purposes, he seems like a great dude as well. I mean, don't have a bad word to say about him, except that he's a Pirates fan. And I don't dislike the Pirates, but it just whenever you know a real life Pirates fan, you can't help but feel a little bit bad for him. So that's Duke. He's running the A's in this league. Maybe going to try the Moneyball thing. I don't know. I don't think he's won very many players yet in the auction, but I could be wrong about that. The Mariners ran by the second Dan. The first Dan runs the Brewers. The second Dan is 38 years old, and again, a guy from the Chicagoland area. So we got a good little handful of you hanging out in and around the Chicago area. That is Mariners Dan. The Astros are in by Jimmy. His age is just a dollar sign because he has spent most of his money already. And he lives, of course, in the money pit. Jimmy did not get back to me for any of the information that I gave all you guys a very short amount of time to get to me if you wanted it thrown up on here. Jimmy has spent a ton of money already. He is going to have a rough second half of the auction, but I mean that could very well be part of his plan. We've any of us that have done auctions, we've seen guys go with the stars and scrubs method. I'm not necessarily implying that the rest of his team is going to be scrubs, but he's very low on funds pretty early into the auction. And the Rangers are ran by Sam. Sam is, I think he's about my age, but he's still young enough to play shortstop in I don't think it's a wooden bat league, but Sam does play in a baseball league still. He lives in Florida, and he also spends a lot of his time deep, deep down in the bottom of a Bitcoin mine, which I don't know a ton about, but I'm pretty sure he just goes out into the backyard and he digs a giant hole and puts a computer down there, and then somehow it makes him money. I don't know. He says he mines for this stuff. I don't know how it works, but it seems to work for him. Another super bright guy, especially when it comes to Sam's big on like projection modeling and stuff. He does a lot of projections throughout the course of the year. He shared with ABL. He runs the Rangers in ABL. He's also in Flug. He's in DZFC, and he is in the Armchair Football League. Another incredibly smart guy in both real life and in fantasy baseball life, and he was actually pretty good in football too. I hate to say it, but that's a quick rundown of your ABL4. That's maybe you go back and watch this, maybe you watch it once, maybe you don't watch it at all, but I wanted to at least not put names to faces, as it were, but put names to the teams that they own. This is a 4-year reset league, so most of us or at least we should expect to get to know each other over the course of the next several years and hopefully beyond. So I figure this might be a good start to that. As I said, I will continue to be doing these throughout the year. I like to. I don't want to lay out the schedule yet, but I like to do, like an end of the week matchups breakdown, look at who did what during the week and such. I did that for the ABL. I'm going to continue doing that for the ABL. I'll do at the very least, one a week for ABL4. But if my schedule allows for it, I work from home. I'm here all the time, but I take care of adults with developmental disabilities. That's what my wife and I do. We're host home healthcare providers. So my schedule is very open, but it can become very clustered and busy with very short notice. But the intention is at least one a week, to break down matchups and that kind of stuff. And then of course I'd like to get, all of you individuals on here to talk about your teams, how you built them, how you liked the initial auction, what are your thoughts on the initial auction, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, I wasn't able to get all the 29 other guys on the ABL the first time. Just sometimes shit happens. Sometimes guys don't want to be on the pod. If you don't want to be, not a big deal. Like I said in that bulk message I sent out, I don't take it personally. Not everybody wants information out there. Not everyone wants any information out there. It's totally fine. I get it. But eventually I'm going to come knocking at your Discord door, and so expect that at some point throughout the year. And until then, this has been Armchair Updates with your first ABL4, the quad. Maybe is there like a foreign language number 4 that sounds really snappy or cool? The quad sounds kind of stupid and sophomore-ish almost. I don't know. But yeah, this is it. I'm the Mets pitching ninja hat, and this has been your intro to the owners of ABL4. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.